Hello everyone, I am here to share something that I am completely in love with and I never thought I would be. And that is a fountain pen that I've just been using so much, mostly because I have a lot of writing I'm doing right now. Sometimes hours a day by hand. And wow, this pen has made it so much easier on me. And uh, I don't know, you may already be really aware of this pen. And let's admire this little kimono that I have my pen in. It's so sweet. I will leave a link to the Etsy shop that sells these because if you have a favorite pen, it needs one of these kimonos for sure. Anyways, this pen is the Pilot Vanishing Point. And I have been aware of this pen for years, and it just never really appealed to me visually until I saw this one. And I don't remember where I saw it. Somebody used it in a video online that I watched, and I fell in love with it, and I went to look for it. And it was just too much. It was just too much money. But I kept it on my radar, and a couple months ago, I saw it on a website. It was actually a Japanese website, and they often do really amazing deals with certain pens. I've purchased a Sailor there for an incredible price. You just can't believe it when you see the price. You're just like, what? It can't be real. So they had a special going on. I also had a discount for being a new customer, and so that they had a store special. I had a discount, and they had this pen was also discounted. And so I got it for an amazing price, and I couldn't pass it up. And this is the Pilot Vanishing Point it's called Stripes. And it's I don't know if it's actually metal or it's just plated in this silvery color. It's certainly not silver. It's just plated in some way or painted in some way. But it's so beautiful to me. I'm in love with the way it looks. The other thing I was concerned about with this pen is that I'd heard that this clip got in the way with your grip. And in my mind, I was worried about that as a left-handed person. I was afraid that it would mess with like the sweet spot of the nib, because the nib is very small. I'll show you. It's very narrow, and this is a medium, which I'm really glad that I got the medium. But I was a little concerned about that. But I'd watched several reviews over the years, and some people really didn't like it. Other people said that it actually kept them in the sweet spot because their fingers always knew exactly where they needed to be, right, on either side of the clip for the pen to work properly. And that is what's happened for me. It is complete ease when I hold this pen. It feels so good in my hand, I can't tell you. I'm kind of amazed by it. I'm so pleased with it. The other thing about the Pilot Vanishing Point that's really amazing is that it's capless. You don't take the cap off. It's a click pen. So when you're doing long, like sometimes 5-6 hours of writing in a day with a fountain pen, to not have to cap and uncap when you put your pen down, so your nib doesn't dry out, because some of my nibs dry out pretty darn quickly, right? And so if I have to put my pen down to go do something and then come back to my desk, all I have to do is click it and put it down, and it's safe. Because when you click this, there's a little window that closes in here, and it protects the nib, right, from drying out. And then when you click it open, that little window moves and the nib comes out. It's ingenious. I love this pen, and I'm going to do a writing sample. But first I want to talk about some of the things that more of the things that I hesitated for this pen about. What I haven't talked about is the fill capacity. So this pen takes an awkward converter. Pilot's converters in general to me are very awkward. Let me unscrew this and show you. So it comes, you unscrew this, right? You pull this out, the whole nib unit comes out of the pen, all right? And then you remove this special cap, and then the converter goes in here. The converter, I had a lot of trouble with. I just didn't like it. So what I'm doing is I'm refilling Pilot cartridges, and it's quite a big fill. Let me see how much I have left in there. I've been using this. I filled it a day ago, a day and a half ago, and it's half empty. That's how much I write right now. And it's almost half empty. So tomorrow I'll have to fill it again. To me, that's not a big deal. It's really simple. I take it apart, I pull this out, I use an eyedropper, I fill the cartridge, I put it back in, and I put the pen back together. It's super simple, right? I don't have to mess with, you know, an unruly converter. So the thing is about this pen is that when you put it back in, it has this little notch here, and you just have to make sure that that is lined up with this hole here, right? And then you take the cap and you push it in and you screw it back on, and it's perfect. It doesn't take very long at all. And it's ready to go again, and it writes instantly. So those are the drawbacks that I heard about, and I don't find them to be drawbacks. I love the grip. It keeps me in the right place. It keeps me in the sweet spot. It's incredibly comfortable in my hand. It's just the right weight for me. It's the right thickness. It's the right length, everything. And then I love that I don't have to remove and put on the cap every time I get up and leave my desk, or set my pen down to look through my book that I'm researching in, and then pick it back up and it won't write again, you know, because sometimes I'll spend 10 minutes looking through notes, pick up my pen again, and I forget to cap it. Sometimes it's a hard start, right? It just dries out a little bit. You never have to worry about that with this pen. It is so practical, and I think so beautiful. I derive so much pleasure from this pen every time I pick it up and use it. So I'm afraid that the deal that I got it for is no longer available. It's not an inexpensive pen if you buy it here in the United States. But if you really love it, I would keep your eye out for it. And if you want, the name of the place that I bought the pen from is Pensachi, Pensachi, Pensachi. And they are out of Japan, and they're wonderful to work with. Really, really wonderful. In fact, when I got the pen, they sent me a little charm that I put on my pencil bag of a little white Christmas tree. So sweet. And they're just lovely to work with. And it does, you know, it takes some time to arrive, but they use DHL, and I've never had, you know, I've ordered 2 pens from them now, and I've never had an issue. They're really delightful to work with. So let me show you how beautifully this writes. This is I'm using Leuchtturms for the writing project that I'm working on right now. And this is an example of this pen in this notebook, and I just fly. I mean, it's just, the words just spill down, right? And it's really perfect on the Leuchtturm paper. I can't really show you what's in here, so, and I don't have another Leuchtturm to demonstrate it, but I'm just telling you it's a great experience. This is an MD notebook. This notebook is where I keep notes for this project. This is almost a brand new one. So I'm going to actually flip toward the back and just show you. This is usually my very favorite notebook to work in. I wanted the Leuchtturm for this project because it has numbered pages. I didn't feel like numbering like 600 pages. So that's why I'm using it. But otherwise, I'm typically an MD notebook person with a dot grid, or I have a new one to share with you as well. So let me just show you this. This is a medium nib. So that's my cursive. It's not terribly fancy. Oh, let me just turn my blind down. It's a little too bright. Okay. So obviously you can't feel what I'm feeling, but honestly, this nib is like butter, even on MD paper. I still feel that beautiful texture of the paper that I love, but this nib just glides. It just glides. There, I can write really, really fast if I wanted to. I don't. I'm a very deliberate writer. I write fairly slowly. But this nib does not have a problem keeping up if I wanted to write fast. Okay. There is really no line variation. It's not a super flexible nib, but it feels cushioned. I can't explain it. It feels like cushy on the paper, but it's not the kind of nib that I would put a lot of pressure on. You can get some flex in it. It's an 18 karat nib. It's an 18 karat gold nib. So it's softer, but it's not flexible, if you know what I mean. It's just not big enough to be flexible, to be honest with you. It's very tiny. I mean, you saw how tiny it was when I took it out. So the flex is there. I don't think that's the purpose of this pen. If you want a flex nib, get a flex nib, but this is not it. Reverse writing, you can, if you need to write something very, very tiny. Like if in a pinch, I need to write something really small. It writes very well. It's a little bit scratchier, but I mean, I don't have any reverse pens that I use for reverse writing that you don't feel it a little bit, but it works really well. You get a nice letter, right? It's beautiful. The ink that I have in this pen is, no, actually it's Laban Athena Gray. I knew I wanted a black ink. It's just something very basic for this project that I'm working on. But I really love the Athena Gray. It flows really nicely from every pen I've ever used it in. And it's just a really dark gray that's just a bit easier on my eyes than pure black. And I love it. So this is Laban Athena Gray. Really nice ink if you are looking for a nice gray ink. In fact, so let me show you this pen. It's it's not like too wet where it takes forever to dry, right? But it flows. It's not stingy with the ink. Let's see here. Where's my? And you can kind of see the undertones of this Athena Gray are kind of bluish. There, and that may have been. That may not be a good example. I may have had some blue ink from this morning. So you can see it's easy to fill in areas. I can't really see using this for drawing, although I have used it for mark making on a few. Yeah, there you go. That's more indicative of this ink. It's like a beautiful blue-gray, right? But on the page, so if you wanted to use it for, for washes and stuff, it's gorgeous. But on the page, it's just a very elegant, somber gray, which is kind of what I like for these kinds of writing projects. So this is on the Midori. And again, this is a medium nib. It is definitely a thicker nib than I typically write with, but I really wanted that smooth, flowing experience so I could write for hours and hours. And that's what it's giving me. Beautiful, right? Really, really nice. So let me show you how it looks on a couple other papers. Another paper that I use a lot of is Tomoe River paper. I typically, for my calendars, I've got some pages toward the back here. This is from a couple years ago when I didn't finish my year out in this planner. So I just keep this for scrap paper and testing pens. But let me show you this one here. So this is the Pilot, and this is Tomoe River paper. Pilot Vanishing Point. And the model is stripes. They have many different colors. They were never for me. This one was absolutely for me. And it's a medium nib. And then again, the ink is Athena Gray from Laban. Now, on this paper, the pen writes a little bit thicker, right? Tomoe River paper usually will give you a little bit of a thicker line than a paper like MD paper, all right? So it's still beautiful. It's very flowy. I typically don't use, in my planners, I don't use fountain pens. I use erasable Pilot Friction ballpoints because I like to be able to erase things. But I I'm just not like Tomoe River paper is just like too tricky for my big long writing sessions. I need something that I can turn the page fast, and that's more like an MD notebook, or the Leuchtturm is great. It's been really wonderful. So that's how it looks on Tomoe River paper. And then I want to show you, and by the way, when I first got this pen, I used the Pilot cartridge up, the Namiki Black, and it was lovely. It was a really lovely ink, and it dried really quickly. It was beautiful. So this is a new notebook for me. I ordered it. They had a special price on it when I got some stuff from Berlin Notebook. This is a Berlin Notebook exclusive design. Oh, what's it? Lineatura is the name of the notebook. This is the BM2, which is the grid. So I'm using this for the first time as my everyday morning pages journal. I almost always use an MD notebook. I just finished an MD notebook, started this one on, let's see what day, the 6th of December. Before that, I had used a Cosmo Airlight, and I hated it. I couldn't wait for it to be done. But sometimes I like to mix it up and try new things, and so I thought I would try this. And this must be the leather wearing off on the textured cover. Well, let me tell you, you guys, I am so in love with this notebook. It's like $4 more than my Midori's when it's on special, and it seems like they're keeping the special price. It's still there. And plus I have to order it from Europe. I have to order it from Germany. It's the only place you can buy it is through Berlin Notebook. And so maybe once or twice a year, I might just order 3 or 4 of them and be done with it. I'm still making that decision because I honestly think I love it more than Midori. It's like my perfect notebook. Look how it's so like understated. It's this beautiful textured paper, thick cardboardy paper. It says Lineatura on the back, embossed, and then it's sewn. It's a sewn binding with just the exposed threads, which is something I love about the Midori notebooks. It's just the aesthetic that I love. I put a little sticker on the front. I will say the stickers don't like this texture. They keep lifting up, but I just keep smushing them back down. So this notebook was designed by, I don't remember his name, the designer at Berlin Notebook. Oh shoot, what is his name? Peter. Let me see, he sent me a postcard. Darn it. I swear I have a postcard from him. Peter, yeah, his name is Peter. So he designed this notebook, and I don't want to show you. So in the front, I keep an index. This is all, every day I write down the date, the page number I'm on, and the type of pen and ink that I used. That's just my index. And then I write every day in this notebook about all of the things. And sometimes I use stickers, and sometimes I decorate it. Like today, I decorated it for the solstice. And here is what, okay, so if you look at this paper, and I have been writing on both sides. Every now and then I don't, but I don't know why. I think it's because I'm used to not doing it in the Midori. But you can't see anything from the other page. There is zero ghosting with this paper. It's amazing paper. It is amazing. It takes fountain pens so beautifully. The inks look beautiful on it. Even ballpoint ink looks beautiful on it. But there is something really special about it. It lays completely flat, right? Look at it up close. Do you see how the grid is a bit uneven and the lines disappear here and there? Well, it keeps you honest. It keeps you writing in a straight line, but these grids completely disappear. You just don't see them once you get writing on the page. They just sort of, it's such a fascinating writing experience when using this. I'm in love, and the paper is unbelievable. It's just, I don't know. So it is a few dollars more per book than my Midori. I think it has a few less pages too because the paper's thicker. Here's some more pen tests in the back. So I'm undecided, but if I do order from Berlin Notebook again, because I use their little notebooks, where is my, show you that. I use it for my tea journal. Where's my notebook? Huh. Not see, oh, here it is. I keep a tea notebook and I use it for that. And the Berlin notebooks are incredible. I really love them. They're wonderful. So if I order more of those, I'll probably just get a bunch of these because I don't know what to say. I'm really in love with it. But I want to show you this pen, and I'll do it back here. Berlin Notebook also makes amazing ink. One of my very favorite inks is Berlin Fox number 6. So let me show you. This is the Pilot Vanishing Point stripes with medium nib. And Laban Athena gray ink. Lovely. It's just a delight to use this pen. So I had to share it. I have some favorite pens now, and they're all sort of for different reasons. Like my letter writing pen, and I write letters often. My letter writing pen and my very favorite one is my Sailor with the custom cursive italic nib. And I use a red ink in that, and it's so beautiful for letters. I have favorite pens for sketching, which is my Franklin Christoph pen and my Pelikan M200. But this pen is now my pen for long writing sessions. It is, I couldn't love it more. I couldn't love it more. I'm very happy. I will never need another Pilot Vanishing Point. The cool thing is too, if I ever decide, like I want to use a fine nib in this, you can buy the nib units separately, and you just replace them. They're interchangeable. You can just pop a new nib size in when you want to use a fine nib or an extra fine, or maybe I'll be adventurous and use a bold nib one day. I don't know. I love it. So I had to share. I know it's silly to be so in love with writing tools and stationery and the act of it, but the joy it brings me when I'm doing the work that I need to get done is immeasurable. I feel really lucky to be able to use these beautiful tools. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're watching this before the holiday season, which is right now, I wish you moments of beautiful joy and peace during this time. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you again soon. Take care.